Hi everyone, I'm Kim Boyd, and I have the privilege of leading Hasbro's global toy brands and licensed consumer products. Yeah, it's a pretty fun job. But the best part is getting to work with amazing people who are passionate about play. At Hasbro, we believe play is about more than fun. It's how people connect. So who designs our play experience really matters. That's why we're committed to bringing more women into toy and game design, and why we're so excited to welcome you to the third year of Women Innovators of Play. I'm so proud of the impact we've made since launching this program. Through our annual design challenge, which launches today, we've connected with hundreds of incredible designers, awarded $60,000 in prizes, and sparked real opportunities for women to take their ideas and their careers to the next level. And with the design challenge officially open for submissions, maybe this year it will be your idea that shines. Every year, we've reached more and more ambitious women like yourselves through our virtual conference. We're not only hoping to inspire you, we're actively working to expand the talent pipeline in our industry and create community along the way. Over the next few hours, you'll hear from amazing leaders in product design, digital gaming, retail, marketing, and more. We'll kick off with a spirited discussion by a panel of talented product designers. Next, we'll hear from Eunice Lee, the Chief Operating Officer at Scopely, on lessons learned and what's trending in the digital gaming space. We'll check in with a powerhouse panel of sales and marketing leaders on what's next in retail. And in between, we'll refresh with our Spark Moments, where you'll experience a day in the life of successful game designers. At the end, we'll share more details about how to enter this year's Toy and Game Design Challenge. So get ready. The next few hours will be jam-packed. If you like what you see, let us know. Comment, share, and join our community on LinkedIn. And most importantly, fire up your creative engine to submit your idea to this year's challenge. Before we dive in, a big thank you to our Hasbro team, our media partner, The Toy Book, and of course, our incredible lineup of speakers. But most importantly, thank you for joining us. And now a quick word from Hasbro CEO, Chris Cox.
Hi everyone, I'm Chris Cox, CEO of Hasbro. It's a privilege to join you for Hasbro's third annual Women Innovators of Play. Here at Hasbro, we believe the future of play hangs on bold new ideas and on welcoming more women into this industry to help shape what's next. That's why this program is so important. It's helping us build a stronger talent pipeline, welcome more women into the industry, and push the boundaries of play. As we look to reach more fans than ever before, across every age, market, and platform, your creativity can help us get there. For this year's design challenge, we want ideas that break the mold. We're especially excited to see concepts that could become the next great disruptor in toys. While we welcome both toy and game submissions, we want to encourage you to think big about what the next must-have toy could be, for any age and unlike anything the world has seen before. That spark of innovation is why you're here, and why we're so excited to hear from this community. So thank you for being part of this journey with us. I can't wait to see the creativity you unleash as we build the future of play together.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our panel From Sketchbook to Shelf, where we'll share some insight about designing products to inspire and delight today's fans. My name is Vivian Nguyen. I'll be your moderator on this topic, and I am joined by three absolutely brilliant women innovators for this panel. We've got Vlasta, Komorous-King, Jodi Norgaard, and Liz DeSilva with us today. So let's get started by introducing yourselves. Tell us about what you do today and how you got started in the industry. So I can start by introducing myself. Again, my name is Vivian Nguyen, and I'm currently a product designer at Hasbro based in the Los Angeles area. So I actually had a pretty circuitous path to toys. I actually studied illustration in school, and it really wasn't until I took a summer off from my studies to do an internship at a small toy company called Applause that I really fell into toy and product design. And then over the last couple decades, I've been super fortunate to work at several different companies and really learn from the top industry leaders, all while gaining experience in a wide range of beloved brands. And I even took a few years off from toys to do Flash animation for online games, including Neopets. Maybe some of you may have heard of it. But eventually found my way back to toys when Hasbro started their fashion and preschool team out here in Los Angeles. And I really have to say, the best part about my career journey is meeting the fans of brands that I've worked on and really seeing how something I've helped to design can bring joy to kids of all ages. So that's a little bit about me. Let's move on to our panelists. Vlasta. So we worked together on a new brand called Nanimals, which actually just launched a few weeks ago. Super exciting. So tell us about your work at IDEO and how you got there.
Yeah, so I have been working at IDEO for the past 17 years. I lead our toy invention group. And so, yeah, I get to do a lot of fun stuff, like get to work with you, Vivian. Yeah, we spend all our time trying to come up with cool, new to the world toy inventions. And then we work with toy manufacturers like Hasbro to get those out in the world so kids can play with them. It's super fun.
Amazing. And so I have, like you mentioned, we have worked together, and it's been a real privilege. Actually, one of my most favorite parts while at Hasbro was being able to visit you and your team at IDEO and really getting kind of a peek behind the curtain to your brainstorming process. So super, super inspiring. Jodi, okay, tell us about your path to launching a toy brand.
Oh, thanks, Vivian, and thanks for having me. So I am the founder of Dream Big Toy Company and the creator of Go-Go Sports Girls. I did not come from the design or toy industry. I have an entrepreneurial background, but I did have an aha moment at a toy store when I was staying at home with my 3 young children. And I noticed many toys marketed to girls were about fashion and beauty. And I thought, where are all the dolls that encourages girls to be strong, smart, adventurous, and athletic? So representing who they are right now. So that was a question that set me on my path and to create my own toy brand. And it wasn't easy. I had to figure it out on my own. But eventually the Go-Go Sports Girls grew into a national brand. And along the way, I found my voice as an advocate. And I share that journey in my new book, which launched in January, which I was very happy about. It takes a long time to write a book, just like it is to bring a toy product to market, called More Than a Doll, How Creating a Sports Doll Turned into a Fight to End Gender Stereotypes. And I continue my work advancing women's rights and empowering young girls through keynote speaking throughout the country, as a writer for Ms. Magazine. And for the last 4 years, I worked with the Biden administration and the Gender Policy Council, and that was truly a highlight.
Wow, so inspiring. I actually love that you harness your creativity to enact social change. And congratulations on your book launch, by the way. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. All right. And Liz, as I understand, you spent most of your career in fashion and accessories. So can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so hi everyone, super excited to be here. I am currently the Chief Creative Officer at the Whatever Company and also co-founder of the new brand Whatever Makes You Happy. Previously in my career, I ran the brand Loungefly. If you know it or you don't, it's all those little character mini backpacks you see all over Disneyland and everywhere. And before that, all different licensed manufacturing for apparel places. I started out, I guess, my creative journey at art school, thinking I was going to also, similar to Vivian, be an illustrator. And coming out of school with significant debt, took a job as a graphic artist for an apparel company, fell in love with the world of fashion and accessories, and has brought me to where I am today.
Amazing. Vlasta, earlier you mentioned how you were drawn to, toy invention and, versus manufacturing. Can you actually expand a little bit more on that?
Yeah. So, I went to school for industrial design, and I interned at a toy invention company, Meyer Glass, and had a ball. And I was like, okay, so that was, a summer when I was still in university. And I thought, oh, so am I really into toy invention, or could it be just toy manufacturing? So then I interned at a toy manufacturer in San Francisco, Wild Planet. And then I thought, no, it was the inventing part. That's the most fun part. And I think that that's my favorite because it's really early on in the process. I spend a lot of time getting to research with kiddos and interview kids and families and learn what are some things missing that they would be so into playing with. And then get to spend a lot of time brainstorming with my team all around what are new to the world things we could do. So yeah, that's my favorite is coming up with the really early things, and then we'll make, one prototype to prove it out. But then we get to hand it off to experts like you, Vivian, to really work out all the details and get it manufactured. And so perfect for hitting the shelves.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I love that. And thank you for expanding a little bit more about the toy invention process. And I know we mentioned Nanimals earlier. I have to say, Nanimals specifically is really this best-in-class example for Hasbro in terms of working with an inventor partner like you to bring an idea fully to market. And we especially just loved how your team came to Hasbro with this concept that combined nurture and fidget and really just elevated the play experience beyond just a simple novelty toy. And then we were able to really build upon that by applying consumer and marketing insights and infusing collectability into the brand as we moved on to manufacturing. So so loved hearing more about that from you, Vlasta. So Liz, you are a bit of an expert when it comes to trends and fan insights. How do you know when a trend will really stick? And what trends should our audience be on the lookout for right now?
Easily, hands down, mystery box, charms, bag charms, anything that you are a part of this hunt. You have this great unboxing moment. It's just so much about the world is a tough place right now. And what is trending are these little bits of joy when you're having a tough day. Is just a little treat to look forward to. And it's the community that comes along with that. There's a whole world of collectors and people trading and collecting these trinkets and things. And that's a big part of what our new brand is about. But in terms of trend, I think fashion accessories really being collectible now, more along the same lines as toys. We really started to experience that during my time as head of Loungefly, that people were really looking at accessories as little pieces of art and a really unique way to express yourself and wear that every day. Some of the fun things that I'm playing around with now are accessories that can transform and sit on your desk, accessories that you can wear and also display in your home. So I think the trend of just creating things to bring joy in unique and different ways is not going anywhere. It is something that people are really embracing. And a lot of that happiness is currently coming from nostalgic brands and also new unique IP that hasn't existed in the world. People are looking for fresh characters, something cute and happy to collect. So I think there's a lot of really fun trends happening right now that we can all latch onto and really create some amazing products for fans.
So here's a question for everyone. Why do you think toys or consumer products can be the best way to change hearts and minds out there?
I can start. Because I absolutely just loved what Liz had to say. I mean, that was awesome, Liz. Great job. Because so play is where identity begins. And toys are not just products, just like Liz was saying. They're storytelling engines. They're cultural touch points. And we are living in a difficult time right now. So they need to bring joy because they shape how children see themselves, how they imagine the future, how they develop their interests, and what roles they can believe that they can play in this world and where they fit in this world. Obviously, I'm very passionate about this. So when a child picks up a toy, it's not just for fun, it's formative. And that's why consumer products can change the hearts, they can change the minds, and they make values tangible. So the toys we put in children's hands today will shape the leaders of tomorrow, they will shape the innovators of tomorrow, and the change makers. Okay, so there you go. Thanks, Liz. Appreciate
I mean,
me off there.
I love your answer, and just to tag on to that, aside from kids, I think the toys and collectible and accessory space are offering today's adults that escape, and it's helping to form kids and adults to kind of go back to that simpler place and those things that brought them joy. So I think our industry, I mean, we're just doing great things, guys. We're here to make everyone happy and to create wonderful humans. And I think it's a great place to be.
So let's talk a little bit about designing for your target audience. From go-go sports to Nanimals to Loungefly backpacks and doll clothing, you've all worked directly on products geared towards girls. So what is top of mind for you when designing a product for young women?
I mean, I can start. I'll jump in. For me, I mean, being in the accessory space, I think it's a balance for women of storytelling and being able to share a piece of themselves through what they wear, but also functionality, right? So it's creating pieces that function in girls and women's everyday life, but also allowing them to share a piece of themselves with the world when they wear it. So an example is I just created what I call the ultimate trinket bag. And it not only functions to hold your laptop, your water bottle, all the things that you need, but it is built solely to hold and support and showcase all of your emotional support trinkets and all the things you're collecting. So it's a really fun piece that I think functions for girls and women of all ages. And the part that I love about creating, especially fandom products, is I can often create products that span someone who is 12 years old all the way to 65 years old, and I'm hitting a broad audience that is sharing common loves right now. And I love this world that has made that okay, that has made it okay to go back as you get older to love things and share those same interests with your kids or your grandkids. And I love creating products that just bring joy to those people who love that fandom or that world of collectability, no matter what their age is. So I think bringing functionality at the same time as storytelling is something that I really love to do.
So Vlasta, now clearly at IDEO, I know you're constantly, you and your team are constantly coming up with ideas for, kids of all ages and genders, but specifically for young women. Does anything come to mind for you as you're ideating?
Yeah, usually it really goes sort of toy by toy. So we'll choose, a topic for a brainstorm and what we're working on, and then we'll talk to kiddos about what's important for them in that area. So I'm trying to think of maybe one example would be fun, but like when we're working on something with pets, we know from talking to little girls that they really love, the nurture, obviously, the feeding, the cleaning up, but they also love humor. So it's how do we make this really funny, definitely like bringing the poop in, like they think that's hilarious. So I think it sort of depends on the topic, but we make sure to talk to kiddos about what they care about for those different things. And sometimes it's things that you would expect, rainbows and glitter, that's going to win. And also sometimes it's like, oh yeah, we are missing a piece. We have to make this hilarious, So yeah, really enjoy doing that.
Amazing. Yeah, I can definitely see so much of those insights really shine through and so many of the ideas that you've presented to Hasbro. So yeah, thank you for expanding on that. And then Jodi, I know you've already talked a little bit about go-go sports and sort of your call to action for young women. Is there anything else that you'd like to further expand upon?
Oh, sure. I mean, I'm always looking at authenticity. And so products that represent, little girls who they are right now, strong, smart, and adventurous. I went into this to not knowingly, but I challenged the status quo. And I realized that, kids are really smart. And, when I say authenticity, it means that kids can really spot things that are watered down or they're built on stereotypes or tropes. So we can't really fool them. So I think about how a product makes her feel. right? How does she feel about herself? Is she seen? Is she inspired? Does a toy invite her to dream big, to move her body, to imagine possibilities beyond appearance? For me, it's about designing with respect and keeping the young girls and children's emotional health in mind. So respect for her intelligence, her ambitions, and her potential.
I love it. Designing with respect. That's fantastic. And while you've got the floor, Jodi, would love to talk a little bit more about your entrepreneurial spirit. So, as an entrepreneur, you had to chart your own path and really figure things out on your own. So, how did you teach yourself the skills that you felt you were lacking? Like, what advice do you think you would give to someone who might want to start their own toy line?
Yep. Those are all great questions, because honestly, I knew nothing about the toy industry, designing, manufacturing, Zippo. So I needed to figure it out. So my approach was to ask a lot of questions. I feel that is so important. So say I went to one person and I asked a question and they didn't have an answer. And I would always follow up with, do you know someone who might be able to help me? Do you know somebody who might be able to answer this for me? So that curiosity and that persistence became my best teachers. So one of the hardest things I had to figure out was manufacturing. And it's how do you actually make a doll? You know, I tried in the US, but the cost was way too high. I could never compete with the price point of other dolls. So I started asking around. And eventually I found a factory in China who made the perfect go-go sports girl. So as an entrepreneur, you learn to chart your own path. You get comfortable with not having a roadmap. And you fill the gaps by staying curious, building relationships, finding people who can improve upon your ideas, and be willing to learn in real time. So my advice for someone starting their own business or their own toy company would be, don't wait until you feel like you know everything. You never will. You never will. Instead, start, stay curious, keep asking questions. That's a big one. And surround yourself with people who know more than you. That's okay. So that's how I turned an idea into a product and a product into a brand.
Wow. Yeah. Such great advice. Wow. What a great conversation. I would like to thank our panelists, and I would like to thank you, our audience, for joining today, and hope that this conversation gives you something to walk away with and inspires you to join this year's design challenge. So keep creating.
Hi, I'm Ariel Rubin.
I'm Juliana Moreno, and we are the Wild Optimists. We are interactive game designers. We have 9 published board games on the market. So we're in Ariel's office. She is our main crafter, prototyper, who puts together beautiful prototypes for us. This paper cutter off Amazon is one of our most important game design tools. Like, we spend so much time cutting paper out. The original Kickstarter version of the game with art by Gage Ullman.
Vampire Pizza, Invisible Man Activity Book, Escape Room in a Box. We did something for the Uncharted movie.
Flashback, and then down here we did 2 games for the Time Drifters series.
We got Game of the Year from Mattel for Escape Room in a Box, The Werewolf Experiment.
Escape Room in a Box, The Werewolf Experiment.
Gaylord Hotels.
Crimes and Capers, which are like mystery puzzle games.
Take your hands off me! Put me back on my shelf.
We do a puzzle quest every year at a music festival called Electric Forest, and they gave us a recognition of merit, so that was very cool.
DC Comics.
Hello Neighbor, Secret Neighbor party game. When Arcane Wonders was wooing us to sell them the game, they made us giant 3D printed keys, and it worked. We were like, yes, you can have this game.
It's hiding back here, but we have a clue walking mystery that is touring the country right now.
So this was the original prototype. To get good reviews, we made 15 boxes and sent them out to reviewers.
But then we also sent those reviewers self-addressed stamped envelopes to send the boxes back, because the boxes were by far the most expensive part of the prototype.
$40 a box, but it was really important to us to have something that looked polished and professional. So we did invest like $500 worth of empty boxes for our original Kickstarter. I think we both really enjoy the process of narrative. We both come out of story. We both love crafting, you know, like how's the puzzle gonna work? How are the games gonna work? What are the mechanics? Good? Wanna play?
Yeah, let's play. Yeah, pastries and coffee.
So this is Lovecrafted Poe. It is a 2-player cooperative game. We have our action cards here that show us all the different things that we can do.
Whenever we're prototyping, we start with paper.
We need a connecting path
this
for
one
all
already
exterior
connects.
doors. Roll the D10.
No, we can pretend it's 1. It's 1.
It's a 1. Oh no!
Fine.
Playtesting is magic, and everyone should playtest as much as they possibly can, because that is where you will see, like, hey, I have this germ of an idea. Is this something that people respond to? And it's like, okay, people like this part about it, but then this part is a disaster. And so your players will really help you design a game that works and that is fun. We want everyone to have their hero moment where they get to step up and be like, I know what to do and I know how we should do it. And one of the ways that we find those hero moments is seeing what are people wanting to do, what direction are they going already, and then building that in. It's our job as puzzle designers to make the player feel smart.
It's important to know what your creative process is.
We both really enjoy the process. Both being moms, we really understand. And so if you have an idea and you're passionate about it, just do the thing. We want other people to make great games. Here's how you can do it. You go and you fail and you make it better and then you try again.
Hi everyone, I'm Roberta Thomson, an executive at Hasbro, and I could not be more thrilled to be here in conversation today with Eunice Lee, COO of Scopely. Now we're here to talk about leadership, fandom, and learn some lessons about the future of play. Now Eunice, welcome. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Eunice, I'm sure our viewers would love to know, I would love to know, how have you thought about your career journey? What got you here?
I started out my career actually in gaming, so I've worked my entire career in video games. And I think I just always kept my mind open to opportunities and just trying to do my best in whatever it was and really care a lot about whatever it was I was doing. And so I sort of went from that to ending up leading HR overall for the largest division in the Activision Blizzard portfolio, and I did that for quite a few years, and then made the leap into operations for game development. And I did that for a couple of years and then joined Scopely. My philosophy really is the one person who really needs to own it is yourself. So if you want something and you have demonstrated you have the capability, you have to go after it. You got to ask for those opportunities. And it's not easy to do. So it's not like that just happens. You have to get comfortable with it, but you got to take these little micro steps to help yourself along. But I'm really glad that in some of those moments when it really mattered, I did that. And I had great people around me to push me to go try the thing that I felt uncomfortable about. And so that is how I ultimately ended up here.
I love it. It's a fun journey, a powerful message for all of our women innovators and inventions.
Yes. Thank you.
I want to get right into fan communities and play. Sure. How do you feel like fandom has evolved? What's different today versus 15 years ago?
Yeah. I mean, so much, I would say. I think fans are across so many different genres of how people consume entertainment. So you might have a fan that started with a board game, for example, or a book or a movie, a comic, but it transcends like all these different formats. So you can find these fans that cross all these different platforms and ways of engaging with this IP that they love. And I think that that's really interesting and has definitely come about in the last 10-15 years. So that's been really interesting. I think also fans are not standing on the other side of the stage or, somebody that you get fan mail from, but you don't really engage with. I think nowadays fans are a community, and it's real, and it's a community that you should be engaging with. And we at Scopely love engaging with. We're not creating products for ourselves. We're creating them for these fans and for this community, and listening to them. I think that's really new in the last decade or 15 years or so, is having that interaction with their fans and hearing from them, hearing what they love and how might you serve them better in that way. But also some of the things that where we could do a better job. And so we've really sort of changed how we think about how we engage with our community. And I think that that's very special.
That's so interesting. It makes me think of occasions where fans push back maybe, or you do something that they don't love. How do you think about those situations? Any kind of learnings to share?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you need to still engage. And even if it's tough to hear it, again, we're not here in service of ourselves. We're here in service of our players and our community. So hearing what they say, and look, there's always going to be different pieces of feedback that you get, and some of it will be something that you can action immediately, or there might be a lot of layers to it. But I think first and foremost, being open to it and being able to accept that there's feedback is the first step. And it's not always easy, especially when you are a creator and you've made something that you feel is super special. But I think if you can open up your ears and try to find the nuggets in there, that will be helpful. I think your fans will come right back, with joy and happiness, and that's the best way it can be.
Eunice, I'd love to hear a bit about how you think about innovation. You have some incredible games and teams at Scopely. How do you fuel that culture of innovation?
I think it's deeply embedded in the DNA of the company, the founders, the employees there today. We really lean into this one Scopely tenet, which is called Iterate to Greatness. And it's really about learning, applying that learning quickly and getting to something even better than what that first product was. And I think we pair that with this other ethos that we talk a lot about in our Scopely operating system, which is the learning machine. And again, it's all about, you can learn from anywhere. So you have to be open to it though, right? So it could come from one of your team members that's on a game that seems completely different to the game that you're working on. It could come from the outside, wherever it might come from, you're seeking to listen, to learn and apply it, see how it might apply and might create an innovation in your genre or your game that others haven't tried before or they hadn't thought of. So we really think about how those things work together in tandem to create this culture where you're always learning from each other, learning from the outside and wanting to get to something better. So even if you're already at great, you're iterating to like that next level of greatness. So I think that that's something that's just really deeply woven into our fabric of who we are. And we talk about these things quite a bit.
That must involve taking risks now and then. How do you build teams that are willing and able to take those risks?
Sure. Yes. I mean, I think it starts with trust in your leadership, trust in each other that you can kind of apply. So in that iterate to greatness model, you're iterating, right? You're trying some things, they might not work, but you're quickly figuring out, okay, what didn't work? I'm going to try something else. I think also having a culture where it's safe to talk about the things that didn't work. Again, in that effort to learn and get to something better. I think we feel really comfortable with that. We talk about those times where we haven't made the right steps and then we've quickly learned from it and then iterated to something else. So I think it has to be this culture of trust where people feel okay and safe to share those things and see it as learning opportunities.
One of the things that's shifting so fast, of course, always is technology. How are you thinking about AI at Scopely?
Yes, AI is really interesting for us. I think where we are at in the journey is just thinking about how do you demystify AI? How do you make it so people aren't afraid of it or thinking about, the worst case scenarios of what AI might bring, but actually how it might help you in your everyday and make your working life that much better. We hold workshops for all types of functions, like whether you're in HR, legal, finance, or a game team, wherever you are, just ask your questions. You should feel comfortable to ask any type of question. Maybe you're not even sure how to really engage with ChatGPT. You can ask some of those questions and feel totally okay about it. So we're trying to just demystify it, make sure folks know what the use cases are in terms of how it can help you in your everyday job. And look, at the end of the day, Scopely believes that making games, it's this feeling that you're wanting to create for our players, right? And that's a deeply human experience. And therefore, it's going to continue to be made by humans who have those experiences and understand that. It's also just making sure we communicate that. Again, just demystify, take a little bit of the edge off of AI, but know that it is something that is powerful and can help us in terms of productivity and even the outcomes that we might get to.
We feel similarly at Hasbro. We care so much about human creators, but
100%.
also AI is so inherently playful, right? Like there's so much that we can do for fans.
Yes.
Thinking about innovation and growth, I have to ask about Monopoly Go, which has been a complete phenomenon.
Yes.
Tell me everything.
Yes, it has been such a joy to be a part of Monopoly Go and to have this wonderful partnership with Hasbro, which actually is, a decade plus. We have multiple games that we've made alongside Hasbro. So I think a rich partnership to be a part of. But that journey was really special in the sense that it took 7 years at least for that game to come out. And I think people don't always think that when they look at that type of game or just that experience. There was so much that went into it. And again, we talked a little bit about, failure, and that was definitely, there was a lot of lessons learned. There was a lot of things where we had to reimagine what we were trying to do, and we were okay with that. We knew that there was something magical about this IP. We knew there was something magical about what we were trying to do. And so we kept on, keeping on, and we persevered. And I think that the people behind Monopoly Go, the game makers, really wanted to capture the feeling that you have when you're playing that board game, when you're surrounded with your friends and family and you have that, that competition and you're trying to get all the properties on the board so that your brother or sister, whoever it is, your partner, doesn't get it. And we wanted folks to feel that in this mobile game, even though it's a different way of the IP coming to life, we wanted to still have those magical moments. And so they thought really deeply again about what's that human experience that we're trying to recreate in this game, and how do we do that in a different way, in a different format, in a mobile game. And I think, having all that care, care deeply is another one of our Scopely tenets, but caring deeply about what we're trying to do here, the experience we're trying to create, I think led us to this amazing outcome. And we didn't shortchange it. We took the time we really felt it needed to take in order to innovate on the IP and what other representations of it already were out there. So I think hopefully we have done that successfully. We're so excited by what we've seen with Monopoly Go. It is the fastest to get to $5 billion in
incredible
revenue. Yeah, absolutely. And again, thanks to a really great partnership with Hasbro.
Oh, well, thank you. And it's funny talking about different expressions of a game. We talk about the board flip moment for Monopoly at Hasbro, right? That moment where you just get so frustrated, but so invested in the game.
I know it well.
Well, I was so interested to hear you talk about perseverance as a leadership lesson, essentially. And I think something that's going to feel very relevant for our viewers of innovators and inventors. I would love to hear a bit more about your leadership journey. Is there, for example, something that you wish you'd unlearned sooner?
Sure. Yes. Well, first of all, it really is a journey. It takes time, and it's not really ever over. You're constantly evolving, I think. And again, if you have that mindset of being open to learning, it's going to help a lot, and asking a lot of questions. I think for me, the one thing I wish I maybe could have learned faster, as another way to say it, is just that there's power in whatever job you're doing to help others come alongside you. I think earlier in my career, I wasn't really thinking about the people around me and how I'm lifting them up alongside me, but just focused on how do I show up and be the best that I can be? How do I do the best job I can do? I mean, I wasn't mean to other people, but I didn't really necessarily have that mindset of and how do I be conscious about the people around me, and how am I helping them, and how am I uplifting them? How am I giving them a voice, especially women around me? I was just sort of focused on trying to do the best job I could do. And I really found that a lot later in my career, and it brought me a lot of joy that I didn't realize could be there. And I think also just learning to be empathetic and to be more transparent, and the buzzword is vulnerable, but it's true. I think early in my career, I was definitely not somebody who even liked the word vulnerable, whether it was in my personal life or in my career. And, for me, it was like, I'm very focused on my career and my job. I'm here to be professional. And so that means I don't share my feelings and I don't talk about my personal life, it's all separate. But I have found so much more connection and joy in my everyday when I'm able to actually share parts of myself and how I'm feeling, or those times where I didn't feel great, or I failed, or I felt imposter syndrome, whatever it is. I have felt so much more reciprocity, I suppose, with the people that I'm working with, and more kinship. And that unlocks something different when you're working alongside folks that really understand you, believe in you, and want to both fail and succeed alongside you. So I think that that's something I really wish I had understood sooner in my career, but it is what it is, and it's here now. So
that's awesome to hear. I grew up professionally at Facebook, and so we've learned to kind of live our lives really in public. And I really agree that just the reciprocity and sharing and being vulnerable together is something that can be very powerful as a leader. That's great. Great lessons. What's next for you and for Scopely? What are you excited about?
There's so much to be excited about. We are primarily known for being a mobile games company, but we have definitely broadened our aperture. We are, developing games that are cross-platform or have already been cross-platform. I think that's very exciting for our continued evolution as a company. I personally am super excited about a lot of those things. Again, we're willing to take those risks and make bets and innovate. So that's always for me something that keeps me super motivated here at Scopely. And I think I always see everything as a journey and as sort of an evolution. And that's what I get joy from, is I don't like status quo. I don't like things being stagnant. That's why I've been in the games industry for this long, is just because there's always something happening and always something changing that really changes the entire landscape of how our players interact with our games. And so I think just really being here for that and being a part of it is super exciting. I think, with Monopoly Go, with our recent acquisition of the Niantic Games business.
I saw, so exciting.
And getting another once-in-a-lifetime game like Pokemon Go is so exciting. They have this amazing event where it's live and in a park or something in a big city. Cool. It's called Go Fest, and they bring the community out in thousands, tens of thousands. Wow. They have filled the entire Rose Bowl here in Los Angeles. And all these players are together and they're playing the game together. So that's the ultimate manifestation of seeing our players, come together and socially interact with each other in a really unique way. So that for Scopely, for myself, is super exciting to see how that continues to evolve, how we continue to make that an even more special experience for our community. We've had amazing events happen within those festivals. So there was a couple that got married at one of the Go Fests this summer. So and these are players that met playing Pokemon Go. So cool. There's these amazing experiences just to be here and be a part of all of that and see these successes is super awesome for me personally, but I think Scopely has a very bright future. So
you have a very cool job.
Thank you.
Eunice, this has been a wonderful conversation. Thanks so much for giving your time, your pearls of wisdom, and thanks so much for all of the viewers for tuning in.
I am Elizabeth Hargrave, and I am a game designer. I'm here at Gen Con, the largest board game convention in North America. There's about 70,000 people playing games together for 4 days. I went to school for public policy. I worked in healthcare policy for over 20 years. I did a lot of data analysis, a lot of spreadsheety stuff. And I also did a fair amount of qualitative research, like running focus groups with people, doing interviews. And I feel like both of those things have been surprisingly foundational to how I do board game design. Building the card structure for Wingspan, for example, it's all in a spreadsheet, and there's a whole formula for like how the cards are scored that's based on like what's the cost of playing the card and what's the value of the power on the card. A lot of people do online playtesting, and I think that serves a really important purpose, but for me, I feel like I'm missing half of the information when I can't like be there to read people in person about how they're interacting with the game. When I start a game, I try to sort of scope out what my intentions are, how I want people to feel when they're playing it, what I want it to be about. A lot of my games, I want them to feel kind of cozy. That's kind of just my vibe. So my latest game is called Sanibel. It's about collecting seashells on the beach. I was at the beach with my family, and my dad said, "You should make a game about collecting seashells on the beach." And I said, "Why is there not a game about collecting seashells on the beach?" Once you have a game ready to go, I think it's important to think about how you want it to get out into the world. I mostly encourage people that it's good to find a publisher. Going it alone and doing crowdfunding is just a lot. It becomes a full-time job. It can take some research to figure out who the right publisher for your game would be. I like to sort of look at the catalogs of different publishers and what sort of games do they have? Do they have something that sort of has similar vibes, or is targeting a similar audience? If you think about the audience for your games, and what games are out there that sort of have a similar feel and might appeal to the same people, then look up who published those games and see if you can set up a meeting. A lot of publishers have submission guidelines on their website. What are they looking for? How to submit a game to them. The thing I always tell people is, even if you know nothing about game design, you know exactly what I knew when I started designing Wingspan. I was starting from scratch. I had played a lot of games, and I think that that's really important. It can help develop a sense of taste and about how games work, but it doesn't require any special training. You just gotta see what you can come up with. If you have an idea, just run with it. It's exciting when your game reaches a big audience. The first playtesting convention I went to was Unpub in Baltimore. It's a great weekend where people just bring unpublished games and play them all weekend with each other and with members of the public that are happy to come playtest. There were very few women there, and it has gotten noticeably better in the last 10 years. You see more and more women in gaming spaces in general, and then definitely filtering into game designer spaces, because all the game designers are coming out of that pool of women who are playing games. So, my strong belief is that everything we do to get people playing more games then feeds into helping with the process of broadening the pool of designers as well. Games are an opportunity, number one, to spend time with other people. They're a great bridge in that way to even, at events like Gen Con, you might sit down and play games with someone you've never met before, and by the end of the game, you might feel like you know them a little bit just from having played a game together. So that's pretty special, and especially right now when we're all on our screens all the time, to really set that aside and focus on each other.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Shop Talk panel. Today, we're talking about retail and the landscape now, what's working, what's changing, how it's evolving, and what to expect. We have an incredible lineup of panelists that I'm so excited to get talking to, so let's just jump off and introduce them right off the bat. How about each of you tell us a little bit about what you do and the coolest part of your job? We'll start with Greta.
I am the Sales and Marketing Director for Card Kingdom. We are a mid-sized retailer that sells Magic the Gathering, and then we also have 4 stores that focus on tabletop gaming. And what I love about that is rolling out new programs to customers and getting that feedback from customers and being able to work directly and see what the customer experience is. Because as a gamer, I love to bring great things to other gamers.
Amazing. And Lisa, I'll hand it over to you.
Yep. I lead our sales team for Hasbro North America and Latin America. And my favorite part of my job is bringing all of our powerhouse brands to retail in partnership with all of these wonderful women on this call.
Amazing. And Christina, I'll hand it up to you.
Sure. I'm Christina Jansa, the VP of Toys at Target, and I get the privilege of leading a team with the goal of helping all families discover the joy of everyday life. I'd say the coolest part of my job is to see people's faces when they hear I get to talk about toys all day. Who gets to do that? But I think the absolute best is when you're in a store and you hear a kid yell, "Hey, Mom, look at this." And as a buyer, you have to run over and see what they love, and it makes it all worth it.
Awesome. And last but not least, Anne.
I'm Anne Careyhill. I'm the Director of Toys and Entertainment at Amazon. And my absolute favorite part of my job is just seeing and getting to play with toys from brands of all sizes. And I think the category is always changing, and what's hot comes from every possible corner. And there's just nothing better than that sort of like discovery or the nostalgia or really seeing what's out there, and keeps you on your toes and is lots of fun.
Definitely. And I'm excited to be here with all of you. I'm Ali Marzeski. I'm editor-in-chief at the Toy Insider and a senior editor at the Toy Book. And we're really excited to be the official media partner of this fantastic event. And we are always trend scoping. So that's how I want to start off this panel. Let's kick it off and talk about consumer trends and what's next in retail. From the Labubu blind boxes to that buzzworthy AI to the growth in user-generated content and the creator economy. How are each of you tackling all of these changes in the retail landscape? And I'll hand it over to you.
Happy to start. This is, I feel like, a truly transformative time. And there are so many places that as a customer, you can learn about toys, right? Whether, you're shopping for, kids at the, very early end of the spectrum, through sort of kids at heart or kidults. And these signals are coming from everywhere and they're changing really fast. And I think that leads to a really interesting time for innovation. There's new technology in the form of, AI tools of all kinds that are also helping shape the environment. But ultimately, all of these sort of different places that you can find, discover, and play and build communities, I think are making a really, really engaging time, but allow customers to find whatever they're looking for their sort of right age, their right interests, their fandom. And I think that's there's more options than ever before, which is really exciting.
So I'm going to jump in and I have to layer onto the Labubu craze. So I heard Christina can get anybody a Labubu. Yeah. I got a Lafufu by accident the other day. So for me, I would say I agree. Trend is happening so fast and change is happening so fast. But what's crazy to me with this, all of the change is now the knockoffs that are coming into our market to chase these trends, and how we differentiate between the two is something that we've kind of kept our eye on, or I have as a consumer now that I have a Lafufu in my house. Christina, I'm gonna have to tap into you to get one.
I'd say from a Target perspective, our guests are definitely looking for innovation and newness. And so our goal is always to be at the forefront of trends. And with social media, trends are moving at the speed of culture and are interconnected and influenced by sports, movies, music. And then on top of all that, consumer expectations are higher than ever. So they're looking for assortments tailored to their needs, at an amazing value, and super easy. So I'd say overall, the good news is that more people are playing than ever, including adults, which Anne mentioned with kidults. And so we're really watching the trend of these kidults closely in categories like Lego and trading cards.
Yeah, I'd love to jump in and talk about particularly trading cards and also the fandom and how IP mashups are really performing well. We saw this with Magic the Gathering's connection with Final Fantasy, which was extremely strong in terms of performance, but also in bringing new people into the fandom and connecting two different niches into something much greater and a really terrific whole, and bringing people into a new type of play, and whether they're collectors or they're avid players, getting excited about something that brings their fandom to life in a new way.
Yeah, and I think that's like a really big thing in the industry as a whole lately, is like that shifting consumer and finding new fandoms and expanding the communities and what people already love and kind of bringing everybody together. And a lot of you were highlighting those shifting dynamics and all of the new innovations that are coming through it with storytelling and a changing consumer. So I want to focus in a little bit on what we mentioned about how AI and technology and those kind of advancements are sort of changing what you're seeing. And Lisa, we'll start with you.
Yeah, sure. So I would say at Hasbro, we see a ton of potential for AI tools to improve efficiency and enhance our experience for fans. So our teams have been experimenting with AI for a while. The past few years, we've launched a lot of different gaming integrations. So like Trivial Pursuit, we did a Ouija integration at Halloween, and you're going to see us to continue to advance in that space. We're also doing a lot of testing and learning with creative and different ways to reach the consumer. But what I would say I'm most excited for in our AI journey is we just rolled out ChatGPT and Copilot to our full workforce, and seeing the efficiency that it's created for myself and our teams, and just data analysis, simple things like writing emails has been absolutely amazing. We're also looking at using it for improving our forecast accuracy and just a lot of the day-to-day stuff that would take a ton of time for us. So I'm really excited to see the implementation or rollout of AI. And I think my advice to everybody on it would just be to know it's iterative and don't be scared of it. Dig in and just test it out and try to learn as much as you can, because it is super exciting what it's doing for us.
Yeah, it feels like you can't have a conversation these days without talking about AI. Today, we're taking a strategic approach to AI investments and have been for more than a decade. And we're looking similarly while making shopping and working at Target even better. And this stretches across our entire enterprise. So we're powering our inventory management systems, helping guests make better purchase decisions, and investing in tools that empower our teams to improve the guest experience. But what I'm most excited about is that it creates more time for our team to focus on delivering for guests with new tools and intelligence to simplify work and speed up decision-making, which we all know is critical.
I agree. I think there's so many applications, and the fun part is that they can come from anywhere on our teams. And so whether that's increasing efficiency, using something, creating something, it really puts that sort of like, I don't know, the aspect of creation in the hands of everyone on all of our teams. And because I've just been so inspired by this sort of like level of creativity that that these tools can be used for. And I think it's going to be absolutely transformative when it comes to a category like toys, whether that's, for all of the people who are in this industry, making toys happen, to how customers shop, how they find and figure out what they want, how they explore their fandom. And I think that's just going to be really exciting. And while we might not know exactly what the future looks like, my guess is that it'll allow us to be more connected, have that like rich information and be faster and ultimately find really cool customer experiences for all of the people in toys.
And I have to say, I used Rufus the other weekend. It was my wedding anniversary, and I couldn't figure out what to get my husband. So I used Rufus to find a cocktail set, a smoking cocktail set for his old fashions. I don't even know.
Okay.
But Rufus set me up. So thank you for that.
I love it. I love it.
I think what's exciting about AI, particularly within companies, especially smaller companies, to be able to get more out of our time. Because we all often have to be good at so many different things and juggling so many different projects. And I think a lot of people in smaller companies are trying to be experts at so much, and it really allows us to, fill in the gaps of the areas where we don't have the expertise. And we're finding that quite a bit at Card Kingdom, and using Copilot internally, and finding a lot of success in being able to expand our understanding of things, and also have better cross-functional conversations, because we can speak with in a different language to folks.
Love that. Greta, what's your favorite Copilot feature?
There's great analysis. If you are an Excel person like me, Copilot in Excel is a lot of fun. I am not really great at writing scripts, and it actually gets you started, and you can learn a lot from it.
And don't forget all the fun you can have with AI. For example, my dogs using AI in Halloween costumes of superheroes.
Oh my God, they're so cute.
They're so fabulous.
Are those actually your dogs?
Yeah.
Do you have 3 dogs?
I do. No one should have 3 dogs. That was a mistake. But I love them, but no one should have 3 dogs.
So cute.
Very on brand for the latest Wizards release.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's a really great tool for like discovery and inspiration. I don't think that it knocks down creativity quite as much as people think, and really can help boost it and inspire things, which I think is really, really fun.
Dogs in spooky season definitely fun.
Definitely go together.
The most important tasks for AI.
Yeah.
And speaking of inspiration, today is all about inspiration and empowerment. So I want to ask each of you, what brand, product, or even retailer has caught your eye right now lately? And who are you looking to or thinking about when you're doing your own strategies and thinking about your own strategies internally? And Christina, I'll hand you this one first.
Yeah. So, obviously Pop Mart is just a phenomenon, from how they connect digital, physical, and social, to how they create brands and categories that relate at a deeply personal level. And they're constantly bringing newness, product drops, and excitement into the category, which is good for toys. From a brand perspective, I'm really inspired by brands that are able to connect entertainment, gaming, mobile, and toys like Pokemon. So they've really broken through to create something that crosses all types of media, but now after 30 years are able to connect across generations, which says a lot.
I love Pokemon also. I think that's a good one. You took 2 good ones, Christina. I would tell you mine. So my team is gonna laugh when they watch this, but they all know my big brand inspiration is Savannah Bananas. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with Jessie Cole and Savannah Bananas. Yes, love it.
I'm on the wait list to get on the wait list, I think.
Oh, my mom's a K Club member, so you hook me up with the Labubu, and I can
done.
Tickets. So I went to a Savannah Bananas game years ago, and I did not think I was going to have fun, to be honest. And I was enamored with the event when I went there. What Jesse and his team have done to be 100% fan first, and not make any decision that is not aligned to their fans is unbelievable. So I think their commitment to their brand and who they are has allowed them to grow so fast and scale. And they have so much brand love and followership. I think they're really, really inspiring, and they've launched something really cool.
Okay, I'll pile on. I think, what's been described, right, are building communities and bringing people together, and sort of having this sort of like, I don't know, you can have something that's like physical and emotional and has music and like all of these things. But I think the root of them is just incredible storytelling that's fun and engaging and sort of gets, your own imagination going. So I guess for the pile, I'd put sort of the anime genre. It's so interesting, right? It's this mix of like incredible stories and like beautiful and like really, really interesting artwork that can take so many different forms, right? Whether that's like graphic novel or, a film or a show or, customer created content, and then like physical in person, sort of role play and costuming, all of these things that sort of like help you bring these stories to life in different ways. And like Christine was talking about, right, that can like transcend, generations and bring people together. And ultimately, right, you're just part of a really cool story. And some of those where then the pen can go into the hands of the customer to take it forward is really fun and engaging. And I don't know, that one brings just a lot of like love and passion for me.
I follow a lot of streetwear brands, and I think of one that's a jewelry brand called Thrifty. They do a fantastic job of really creating a intimate customer experience, exposing the back of house to the customer, showing warehouse shots, how your order is being packed, having very personal communications with their customers. And they launched an app and did a really terrific job of push notifications, the way they got you excited about new jewelry drops. I thought it encapsulated the excitement of the collectability of a lot of streetwear, and also was voiced in a very authentic and like age appropriate and demographic appropriate way. It really hit on every level. And then I've always followed Lego, who I think does a phenomenal job of really knowing their audience at every age, the collectors, the kids, the adults. Everybody loves Lego. And I think that they bring a site experience, an in-person experience, and a richness, as well as those IP connections that are so strong and that let you love two things that, and bring them together that you really enjoy, like the Star Wars collaborations. There's so many of them that I know folks who've been collecting them for years, and it's really enduring and a big part of their family experience.
I think there's also something about like the fun of like bringing people together like into physical venues. I don't know, Greta, if you want to talk about like your Mox venues, but I think those are incredible ways that bring people together who have a passion for something, and just like the energy you get like going is incredible.
Absolutely. I think having a space for community is critical. Part of our mission as a company is to bring people together around the campfire, to share and to make a space where everybody feels welcome to game. And we also want to be that third place for people, that spot where you can come and you can have a beer and you can game, or you can have a drink, or you can bring your kids, you can learn. It's really it's for every level. And it is about those experiences, which are crucial. Those are our memories. I know when we went through COVID and everybody was impacted, that we saw how much of a loss there was in communities not being together and being able to play in physical spaces and have those experiences with one another. And as we're seeing that change back over the last couple of years, it is really wonderful to see communities building back up. It's really helping different games, and particularly card games to really have a resurgence of excitement, and also organized play. Just to be able to get people together for competitive play is also really it's really beneficial for all the properties.
This is kind of springing an impromptu question, so feel free not to answer it if nobody's prepared for it. But I'm just curious that a lot of the brands that you brought up and the impactful nature of them and what has impacted you the most really seem to align around storytelling, or like kind of pulling back a curtain and it not being like a big scary corporation and a consumer, but it's all kind of one world and we're all kind of working together, and the fans and consumers are part of the process in a way. And I'm just wondering, based on your last answer, Greta, and anybody can jump in if you have an answer to this, but is that sort of a result of the pandemic and that sort of search for community and things like that? Or is that a trend that you saw kind of growing before 2020?
It is a trend that I saw growing before 2020, but I do think that the last couple of years people have really embraced the opportunity. When you have something that is taken away and then you get to enjoy it again, you appreciate it differently. And I also think from an age demographic, there is a group of younger people, Gen Alpha, and they do want to be in spaces. They want to be around. They want to be around people and doing things out in the world. And I think that's exciting. And I think providing those spaces and having that personal interaction is wonderful. And I also think people want authenticity in brands. They want brands that they can relate to, that speak to them. You had brought up user-generated content earlier, and I think that is a really strong pull for people. They want to be involved in the brands that they're excited about.
Yeah, I totally agree, Greta. I feel like we are seeing a resurgence in community and the need for community. When I think about what happened with COVID, I've got 2 little kids, and they accelerated their digital connection. So the way they discover and the way they start to build their friendships, their ecosystems, their shopping habits, what they like is all digital. But there's a huge desire to go out into the physical space and connect. So I see it with my 2. They're interested in learning more about D&D and different ways to connect with their peers. And we do family game night every weekend. And that connection is it really is unbelievable. And I would say I'm seeing them personally yearn for it. We also have a ton of research showing, we talk a lot about the loneliness epidemic, right? So we're seeing that parents are really pushing that for their children also, and looking for these ways to build community and get them kind of off of the screens and out to connect.
We're seeing the same thing, right? Like sort of the mental, emotional, social health for children, and how you can learn through play and build resilience. And I don't know, the fact that things in our industry like toys can really help build those skills and bring people together is so cool.
So it's so cool. We have such an important obligation, I think, to our fans, to the younger generations, to parents all around the world, to bring this connection to them with what we do for work, which is something that I love about my job personally.
Yeah. I think people want to make magic. They want to make moments. They don't just want stuff. And I think that's what's really fun about what we do is we're able to really add to those moments, whether it's family, friends, et cetera. And so that's one of the cool things that we get to do.
And bringing it back to AI, I think one of people's fears about the changes that are happening are that we will become more distant from one another. And I completely agree with you. It is part of our jobs to help maintain connection. Let those tools be things that give us more time, that allow us to have those connections in real life. And I think that toys and games are a beautiful way to bring people together in that time.
We definitely all can agree on the importance of play for everybody, not just kids. Those benefits stick with you through any age for sure. Well, I just want to thank all of our fabulous experts for chatting with us today. This has been a wonderful conversation. I'm so glad I got to be a part of it. And thank you for everybody for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Naomi Brunitelli. I'm the Senior Manager of Inventor Relations here at Hasbro. Every day I get to meet with some of the most imaginative people in the world, toy and game inventors, and I get to work with them to bring their ideas to life. It's a job I love because it's all about creativity, collaboration, and building community. But here's the thing, in all of those meetings, I can't help but notice how few women are in the mix. It's something I've seen throughout my career, and it's one of the reasons Hasbro's Women Innovators of Play Design Challenge means so much to me. Yes, that's right, our Design Challenge is back for year 3, and hopefully after today's conversations, you're inspired to share your great idea for the next toy or game. Here's how it works. The challenge is open now through November 13th, 2025, and we're looking for submissions that stand out in innovation, mass market appeal, design and aesthetics, fun factor and playability, and manufacturability. And here's a tip. While we accept submissions for both toys and tabletop games, we are especially excited to see concepts for great new toys for players of all ages. It's time to get creative and let those awesome ideas out of the toy box. Winners will get a trip to Hasbro's office for a behind-the-scenes experience, a mentorship session with one of Hasbro's top women leaders, and a cash prize. If you're 18 or older and live in one of our eligible countries and you identify as a woman, head to Women Innovators, the Place website for all of the details and how to submit. We can't wait to see what you come up with. And if you need a little extra motivation, here's a few words from last year's winners.
Hello, fellow women innovators. My name is Elise, and I'm a game designer and inventor from Australia. And last year, I was selected as one of the winners of Hasbro's Women Innovators of Play Challenge. This challenge is important to me because it gives women who are passionate about their craft the opportunity to share their ideas on a greater scale and also contribute to this incredible industry, paving the way for the women who enter after. Before winning Women Innovators of Play Challenge, I would spend time dreaming up weird and wonderful toys and games and bring them to life through 3D printed prototypes, or maybe sketching and writing design documents and testing them with friends. Now, I still, of course, do this, but thanks to Hasbro, I have the knowledge and connections to actually make a career out of my ideas, a career that I didn't even know existed. My best piece of advice for creating a winning submission is to be able to highlight the fun of your idea. Figure out what is the best part of your creation and really understand why it works for its audience. Figure out what people love about it, figure out what you love about it. Highlight that fun, present it proudly. It's time to get started. I can't wait to see what you create.
Hi fellow women innovators, my name's Natalie, I'm a games inventor from London, and last year I was selected as one of the winners of Hasbro's Women Innovators of Play Challenge. I found last year's challenge so motivating, and it's amazing what a deadline will do to push you from a brand new concept to a finished prototype in such a short time frame. Before winning the challenge, I designed Confident, which is a family-friendly party game where you answer questions that anyone can have a guess at, like how many slices are there in a loaf of bread? And everyone guesses with a range, and the person with the smallest range wins the most points. But I created that as a side project, and then it went on to become my full-time job. My top tip for crafting a winning submission is to not just create a really fun and exciting game, but to really show the judges that you've considered all the criteria. So how it's going to be made, how it's going to be marketed. So it's not just a really exciting thing for the players, but it's also a viable product for the business as well. So what are you waiting for? Get cracking with those pitches.
That's it for our 2025 program. Hopefully you're feeling inspired to take your work to the next level. And of course, share your amazing ideas with us for the next great toy or game. Thank you again to our fantastic speakers, the entire Women Innovators programming team, and all of you for joining us today. See you next year.